All right, let's hear from a few more people in the David Pakman Show audience. We take calls via Discord. You can find that at davidpakman.com/Discord. Why don't we go first in this segment to Meg B. Meg B, you are on the air.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm talking to you. Okay.
I can't believe I'm talking to you, Meg.
Oh my gosh. Okay. My husband's gonna freak. Okay. So I really have a big question about the March for Medicare for All because I don't know any that I saw it on the Humanist Report, and so I got excited about it, and then all of a sudden I looked it up more, and there are all these controversies about neo-Nazis organizing it and gathering information.
Yeah.
And so I keep on trying to get more information on it, and no one is giving us information. And so my husband reserved a hotel in Austin. And so then he's like, are we gonna, go to it or what? And I said, I don't know because I can't get more information. I'm really, nervous because I trust the Humanist Report, but I don't really see anyone else covering it. So I was
have
trying
to tell you, I don't know a thing about this. Is a Texas March for Medicare for All?
Well, no, it's national, and it's in I think it's like in 30 different states or something like that. And so that's
and when is it taking place?
June 24th, which is supposed to be the birthday of Medicare.
But that June of 2022?
No, June. Not June. I'm sorry, July 24th.
Oh, I just don't know anything about it. With all of the, I don't really go anywhere. And I'm trying to avoid big crowds. So I really couldn't tell you anything about it. It strikes me as implausible that neo-Nazis are organizing it, but it's certainly plausible that neo-Nazis are infiltrating it. I really don't know a thing about it. I wouldn't say, but what I appreciate is that you're even asking these questions because a lot of people end up at events they don't even understand. So I like that you're investigating this.
Okay, well, I really appreciate it. And I've been watching you for years and years and years. So thank you so much for taking my call.
My pleasure. I'm glad to have spoken to you today.
Thanks.
All right. Say hi to your husband for me. Beautiful. Okay. Perfect phone call, really. Perfect phone call. A beautiful call, the likes of which we've only read about. Why don't we go next? I hope I pronounced this correctly. Is it Kuma from China?
Yep. Can you hear me, David?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, thank you. So I'm a Chinese immigrant who currently lives in Canada.
Oh, okay.
I still don't speak perfect English, so please bear with me.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
So the other day I read this quote from Roger Scruton. It goes something like, conservatism starts from the sentiment that good things are easily destroyed, but not easily created. So my mom is a very interesting case when I think about this. She's against everything that has been going on in China for the last few decades.
Mm-hmm.
Her family were victims of the Cultural Revolution.
Yes.
She wants more democracy, human rights protection, checks and balances for the government. So I guess in that sense, she is a progressive. But when it comes to U.S. politics, she's a huge Trump supporter.
Interesting.
Because Trump is very hard on China, and I guess she's just a bit, traumatized by socialist ideologies because the Chinese government has never really put it off and has done a lot of bad things under the name of socialism. So she would be a conservative if she were in the U.S. today. And I can speak the same for most of Chinese immigrants of her age in the U.S.
Interesting.
So my question is, how much conservatism in the U.S. do you think comes from the sentiment that things are generally good and we should not rush to change it, versus the actual policies or ideas, like in my mom's case?
So I think there are numerous immigrant populations that tend to be conservative, or at least are frequently conservative. One is, as you're talking about, Chinese immigrants of a certain age who are really only conservative in one sense, as you're pointing out, but at the same time sort of have what we might consider more of a leftist critique against the Chinese regime of the Cultural Revolution. That's one group. We've also talked about certain Latin American immigrants, in particular Cuban Americans, some Venezuelans, and then also there are some centrist South and Latin Americans who just kind of end up voting for moderate Republicans because they see them as sort of like, as you're pointing out exactly, they're like, things are better in the US than they were where I came from. And it feels like those moderate Republicans are sort of trying to keep things in that way. They're not on board with like the radical right stuff, but they're just like, I'm kind of a moderate conservative. And then you also have another group is there's surprisingly high number of Eastern Europeans, including Russians and others, who tend to surprise me often when I learn that they are actually pro-Trump. And I think that there's a couple different things. One aspect is they see American republicanism as the opposite of what they abandoned in their country, rightly or wrongly, and therefore they just sort of gravitate towards it. That's one piece of it. The other piece of it is exactly what you're saying, which is the idea that if you think things are sort of pretty good, then sometimes you say, well, let's keep things the way they are. And conservatism by definition wants to conserve that. So yeah, I think your analysis is good. And I think there's even, more to it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for the call. That's an interesting topic. I like this one.